Matigela, welcome to my YouTube channel. So I want us to continue listening to what Ramsipile is saying there. Like, guys, oh, he was just proper, guys. He was just proper. I can't. I like what he did. I'm so impressed. That's just me. Before we do that, guys, please make sure you do not forget to like, to share, to comment, and most importantly, please make sure you are subscribed on the channel. Please make sure you are watching the videos and you are watching them until the end. When you do that, you are supporting this channel in so many ways, financially, in numbers, etc. So please make sure. Now, let's get to what else Ramsipile pointed out when it comes to what the state is trying to do. Firstly, Ramsipile makes an important concession and that makes the argument even stronger. Council does not argue that Mohapi requires Vodacom, MTN, or Cell C to send an employee to court every time cell phone data is used. Instead, his argument is this. Fine, Mohapi says you don't necessarily need a network employee, but you still need a competent person to lay the foundation. That is the heart of the attack. The defense is effectively saying, we are not demanding a Vodacom witness. We are demanding an evidential foundation. The state gave us neither. That is far more difficult to dismiss as a technical objection. And also you would remember that Usibanda Nobaloy, they just want to ask questions about something. Fine, worst of all, Ramsipile tells us they have no sight of it. They had no sight of it yet, but they are arguing about it. Weird, ne? Okay. Secondly, this is the state's potential nightmare at this point. Where did the records actually come from? Okay. The state apparently relies on records retrieved through the NEMOS system because the information had allegedly been requested years earlier. But here is the brutal question. Who actually generated the records now before the court? Was it Vodacom? Was it MTN? Was it Cell C, a police officer, an investigator, somebody who downloaded them years ago, somebody who uploaded them to NEMOS, somebody who retrieved them from NEMOS years later, and crucially, who testified to that entire process, because saying we found it on the NEMOS system is not the same thing as proving this is an authentic, complete, and unaltered record originally generated by the cellular network. A database is not magic authenticity machine. If the state's position is simply that the records were sitting in a police accessible system and investigators later found them there, the defense has a legitimate opening. Who put them there, when, from what original source, and what happened to them before they arrived in court. The third thing is what we've been talking about, the 3-year retention argument may actually expose a bigger problem, Kesana. The state appears to be saying the normal retention period does not matter because the records were requested back in 2015 and therefore remained accessible. Okay. But then the defense is asking, show us the original request, show us the original response from the service provider, show us who received it, show us who restored it, or who stored it, sorry, show us who retrieved it for this investigation, show us whether what is before court is the original, a copy, an extract, or a later reproduction. That is where the argument becomes dangerous, because all the evidence does not become self-authenticating simply because it survived in a computer system. In fact, the longer and more complicated the journey, the more important the evidential foundation can become. Number 4 of the things that Ramsipile touched on this particular video that I want us to talk about, Mohapi is being turned back against the state by Ramsipile. This is probably the sharpest part of the argument. The state may rely on Mohapi and say, you don't need a Vodacom employee. Council's response is essentially correct, but read the whole judgment. If Mohapi permits somebody or other than a network employee to authenticate the records, then that somebody must still be competent, knowledgeable about the process, able to explain the acquisition, able to explain reliability, able to address integrity. The defense is attacking a possible half reading of Mohapi. They are saying the state wants the benefit of the judgment while ignoring the conditions. But someone competent must establish reliability. That is a serious forensic point that Ramsipile was bringing there. But there is the brutal weaknesses. Number 5, the brutal weaknesses in the defense argument. The defense must be careful not to overstate Mohapi. A court may say, I hear you, but authentication does not require perfection. It requires sufficient evidence from which I can reasonably conclude the records are what the state says they are. And this is where the state could fight back. Okay? Even uJudge Ratha, because we know how uJudge Ratha is. We know uJudge Ratha and the state could argue that the foundation was established cumulatively through testimony of investigators, correspondence. But okay, fine. These things, they did not happen in this court. Fine, Ramsipile has a point, because all the surrounding evidence, matching phone numbers, matching dates and times, evidence of movement, other records corroborating the calls, we want someone who is going to say in this court. So it did not happen in this court. Yeah, but also, yeah, still that evidence, yeah, it doesn't stand. And now the NEMOS issue could be a chain of custody problem disguised as an authentication problem. This is deeper issue. The defense is not challenging the cell phone data. It is potentially challenging the entire journey of the data. Network provider, original request, original disclosure, police possession, storage, NEMOS, later investigation team, extraction, exhibit, then court. That's what they want. So if there is a missing witness or unexplained gap anywhere in that chain, the defense is arguing the court has not been told enough to know whether the exhibit accurately represent the original data. That does not automatically mean exclusion. We understand that, but it can severely damage weight. And this distinction is very important. The defense may not necessarily win an outright exclusion, but it could win a finding that the data is unsafe to rely upon heavily. That could be devastating if the cell phone evidence is supposed to establish where the accused person was, where an accused was not, communication between alleged conspirators, movement toward the crime scene, movement away from the crime scene, the alleged involvement of a particular accused. If they want to find out all of those things, they better do right. Now, there was also the Brown argument, potentially the most dangerous part if properly developed. The argument is now moving into a distinction between automatically generated machine data and human-created or human-manipulated electronic content, which is exactly what happened with the Kelly Khumalo and Fiso Kuhlentuli situation. This is what Ramsipile was dealing with. The argument is now moving into a distinction between those things, which is very crucial. Not everything on cell phone or in a cell phone record is the same. For example, potentially more automatic network timestamp, tower information, automatically generated connection records, potentially involving human assertion or intervention, messages, names assigned to numbers, notes, downloaded images, screenshots, extracted reports, data entered into a system by a person. The defense appears to be saying, don't put everything under the label electronic evidence and pretend it all follows the same rules. That is correct as an analytical approach. A raw automatic generated network event is fundamentally different from a document containing information attributed to a human being. Now, the real courtroom battle here is that the entire argument comes down to one brutal question. Is the state proving the data or merely producing the data? Those are not the same thing. A piece of paper can be handed to a witness. A spreadsheet can be loaded onto a computer. A printout can be marked as an exhibit. A record can come from a police database, but none of that automatically answers why should the court trust it as an accurate representation of what actually happened. That is the defense's strongest point. Now, legally, Ramsipile identified a correct battlefield field: foundation, authentication, integrity, and weight. Mohapi's argument is very strong, particularly because the defense is not making the simplistic claim that only a service provider employee can authenticate the data. Nemo's argument, potentially also exclusive, and also Brown distinction, potentially very strong. Biggest of them all is that the one thing the state wants the court to trust the cell phone data because it came from a system, but the defense is asking the question, nobody can escape. Who proved that the system's version is an authentic, complete, and untampered version of what the network originally recorded? So that is the question that needs answers. I loved what Ramsipile did there. Let's listen just for 2 minutes, some of the things that he said in there, because Sana, Ramza, my guy.
We must first go and do as Mohapi says. Now, at paragraph B, my lord, I deal with the fundamental issue that is also associated with what we are arguing here, which is the fundamental distinction between confrontation against proof of contents. And we say, my lord, the South African law draws a very sharp distinction between confrontation and credibility testing against the proof of the truth of the contents. With respect to confrontation, we're saying the state may put a document to a witness to challenge his version, to test his memory, or to lay the basis for an attack on that witness's credibility. And we further say, my lord, that the document need not be formally admitted as evidence, but the witness must be given a fair opportunity to deal with it. Whether Mr. Mncube has been given a fair opportunity to deal with that document, it's the jury's out on that, my lord. Now, with respect to proof of the contents, we submit, my lord, if the state wants the court to accept the contents of the document as true, for example, that the record shows that Mabungu called accused number 3 at 2019, then we submit, my lord, that the document must be admissible in evidence and the state must lay a proper foundation. And this distinction, my lord, between the confrontation against the proof of contents.
You know what, guys, you've heard Ramza. He was just proper. Oh, I loved everything about what he was doing there. Damn, he was just proper. He came prepared. He fought a good fight. I don't care what Judge Rata decides. The bottom line is that we can see the defense is fighting a good fight. They are trying their level best. Yes, there are things that we may not be happy about. I'm not illegal anything, but we can look at things like, why didn't you? Or why this and that? Fair. But right now, I am impressed by Ramsipile. What are your thoughts when it comes to his arguments? Let's talk with comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.